If you've been around here for a while, then you know that I have been talking about for quite some time building and creating my own website and selling my resources on my own platform. And I've finally been able to do that thanks to some help from a friend, which we will meet here in just a few minutes. I have finally launched laurenfultonmath.com. And you guys, there's even a blog. So for all of my years of saying that I would never blog, I finally started to take some old emails and turn them into blog posts with some help from ChatGPT, which is another great topic for a later episode. But today we're talking about Shopify because everything about my website is set up on Shopify. The blog is on Shopify, the products are on Shopify, everything is on Shopify because I really needed something that was simple and all in one place, kind of packaged together really nice and neatly for me. But I had a lot of help from a friend of mine, Tyra Frederick from Algebra and Beyond, because she created the only course that I know of for teacher sellers called Getting Started on Shopify to help other teacher entrepreneurs get their resources listed on Shopify on e-commerce platforms. And today in this episode, we're talking about the benefits of having your resources on an e-commerce platform where you have a little bit more control. We're talking about some of the pros and cons, when this might be a really good step for you, and some of the things that we've seen inside of our business after launching the Shopify store. If you've ever thought about selling resources on your own website, this is absolutely an episode that you don't want to miss. So stay tuned. Let's go ahead and let's dive in and let's meet Tyra. Hey, Tyra, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, Lauren?
I'm great. I'm so excited to talk to you about Shopify today. Really, really excited. So when did you create your Shopify store?
So I purchased the Shopify in October of 2022, and then I did a soft launch end of November, right around like Black Friday. So kind of being able to reach out to my customers that way, just briefly kind of getting into it, but not a huge launch, just wanting to see how it went and kind of tied into like a holiday sale.
I started to try to create my Shopify store probably around November, December of last year, and just finished it. In fact, we were talking about that before we started recording. Like, I literally just did a soft launch yesterday. So it took me a very long time, but for reasons that probably nobody else will run into other than like, I'm going to take a break, and I stopped focusing on it. But that's really helpful to know that you created it really quickly. Can you start by just talking about like your TPT experience? Because you've been on TPT for a long time. What led you to be like, okay, I'm going to add and expand my business to include Shopify when you were already established on TPT?
It kind of goes back to how I've always set up my business and my goals for when I started on TPT. I kind of set like marking points. So once I started my store, and then once I had 50 resources, then I said, okay, now I'm ready for the next thing. That's when I started pinning on Pinterest. And then my goal was the next 50 resources, I'm going to have a website or a blog. And so kind of like every 50 resources that I would upload, I felt like I was ready to add something else like social media, a VA, things like that. It just kind of gave me some motivation to create and balance adding different aspects to the business. And when I decided on the Shopify, at that point, I had 350 resources on TPT. And so I felt like it was time to expand and have my own store. I have, over 10,000 subscribers through my blog. So I had an audience and I had enough resources where it was justifiable to create the store, and just was like the next kind of step I felt like of what I wanted to do to grow my business. And so I've just kind of always done that. And I was just looking the other day that I just hit 400 resources. So now I'm thinking, okay, what's the next thing that I'm going to kind of add to my business and as a stepping and growing stone? So yeah, that's kind of where I was at. And I just knew I wanted to like keep growing my business in a different way. And it just felt like the right time. And I had the time to do it and commit to it. So that's kind of where I was at and how I've always kind of done my business.
I love that. Can you talk to us a little bit about some of the draws of having your own Shopify store versus just selling on TPT? Because I know that this isn't for everyone. And we'll talk about this here in just a little bit. You'll kind of share your experience and share your opinions on some of that. But really, like, what were the things that you were like, okay, this will benefit my business in this way?
It actually wasn't so much about the business. I felt that I was becoming limited of how I can help my customer. And a lot of it was like, have so many resources that when I start creating bundles, it was getting to the point where a resource I could put in this bundle and make this bundle, and how it could be in 5 bundles. And I like the bundle feature on TPT, but if you have something in 5 or more bundles, it takes forever for them to scroll down and get to see the product description. And I just thought, I don't want to keep adding resources to bundles I think teachers want. That was one thing. Just what I have done on my Shopify store is create a build a bundle. So now I can promote it saying, hey, I know that you need to pick and choose what you want, and I would love to give you a discount for creating your own bundle without me having to like create an individual bundle, post it on TPT and send it to them that way. So I created a build a bundle on my Shopify, and letting them know they can now go in and get 10 or more resources and get 30% off, which is how I do it on TPT, is 30% off most of my bundles. So I really liked that I'm able to help my customer more that way. That was my biggest motivation. And also offering different discounts, like maybe a buy one, get one free, things like that, specials that I can't do through TPT. It's more limiting. And there's reasons for that. I understand that. I just felt like I was at a point where I wanted to serve my customers better, having more ownership over my own store, knowing that if something were to happen with TPT, I have more security that I will still have a store ready to go. And I do direct them all there now for my blog anyways. But of course, I give them the option to shop on TPT, but just that stability of having it no matter what. And then the fees. The fees was a big motivation as well, where, TPT takes 20%, and I completely understand that, but not having that huge fee now through Shopify is also a good reason for me to kind of feel like this is worth it as well.
Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, like, you definitely want to help your customers more, but by helping your customers more, the end goal, at least for me, I'm not going to speak for you, but I know for me, the end goal of helping my customers more means that it's going to help my business more. And so if I can help them build a bundle or do something like what you're talking about, where they're able to kind of customize their options a little bit more, that's obviously more money in my pocket at the end of the day. But then the 20%, like you talk about, that's a huge win for me. That was a huge draw for me, because I get why they take 20%. It's a lot of work that they do. There's a lot of stuff that goes into what TPT does. But at the same time, I would rather keep that 20%. What kind of results have you seen, whether it's feedback from customers or increased revenue? Like what kind of results have you seen from opening the Shopify store in your business?
It's definitely slow at first, because you have to kind of retrain your audience that, hey, I'm not just on TPT now. I also have my own store. So when I launched it for Black Friday, I did it like a sale. Obviously, it was just like a soft opening, like I said. At that time, I had not changed my links on my blog to go to my store. They were still directing them to TPT if they wanted to purchase the resource that they were reading about. So really, at that point, that first month, it was hard for them to find it unless I was like putting it in an email, right? And it's on my blog, and it links to, you can shop on TPT or you can do Shopify. But once I changed my blog links, and I went through all of them and changed it to then, hey, you want this, goes to my Shopify, that's when I started seeing the consistent sales every single month, because they're finding me through my hard work, through pinning and blogging, and they like it, and then they click on this and it goes to my store and they're purchasing. So being able to drive the traffic either through your subscribers or your blog or some other way on your own definitely is when I saw that the increase in sales on a regular basis. I also was very fortunate to do a math appreciation event with Bridget from Math Giraffe, and that was just really blew my mind how well it went. And it's like trying to get your audience and train them. It's okay to shop over here, and we can do more for you over here. And we did such an amazing event, and it was just so awesome. Teachers were so appreciative, and just something that we would never have been able to do on TPT. And be able to collaborate with Bridget, because she has a Shopify store, was just awesome. It was just something nice to do completely on our own. Now I have repeat customers and, regular sales because of my blog and things like that. I don't always in my email direct them to that store. I still balance the TPT and the Shopify. So it kind of depends on what's going on with that. But, it starts slow, like TPT did at first, but for right now it's very consistent. And I try to do kind of a fun something event every once in a while to just, boost it a little bit and remind them that it's there. I feel like it went better than I expected. I thought it would grow slower, but I think with having little events and collaboration with someone that you trust and whatnot really has made it feel very well worth it. So yeah, it's gone really well. I've been very pleased for sure.
That's exciting. We talked about the draws of having a Shopify store or having an e-commerce store, lower transaction fees, just the ability to be able to do more. When we're talking about, customizing those sales, customizing some of those things, what are some other things like coupon codes? Like, what are some of the things that you're doing with these collaborative events that you wouldn't be able to do on TPT?
Okay, so like I said, I have the build bundle and I kind of break it down where if they buy 2 resources or more, it's 10% off, 5 resources or more, it's 20, and then 10 or more is 30%. So it kind of gives them a little flexibility there. And you set that in the back of your store, you set it up in it and you can let it run forever or limited time. I've done buy one, get one free. I've done, and sometimes you can limit it saying the first like 100 people. So it really gets them to get in there and do what they need to do, like kind of that, oh, I don't want to miss out on this. It's only for the first 50 or whatever. I'm trying to think what else. You can set up different percentages for sales. So like I know TPT, we do 20% off and then it's 25 for or another 5% for the TPT, what they take off. But when you run the numbers, it's almost better for me to just do 30% off my Shopify because then I'm not taking 20% off and then 20% from TPT. So when I do specific sales on there, I do it at 30% because I'm still making more than I would on a TPT site-wide sale. And the last thing is gift cards have been really awesome because when we do TPT, you have to purchase the gift cards and then you send them out and then you're hoping that they use it in your store. But this way, you don't spend any money. You create whatever gift cards you want. You can even send it to maybe a customer or a subscriber that's been very loyal, and it doesn't cost you anything, especially when you do a giveaway. It's been super awesome. Again, kind of training your audience. Hey, I'm giving you $10 gift card for this store, and they have to shop in there. But again, it's like, okay, it gets them over that fear of, is this legit or not? And it doesn't cost me anything. That has really made a difference as well, where I am able to do those kind of giveaways more and just get my audience excited again about being able to purchase items and getting, entering a giveaway and feeling like it's worth it as well. So, and for me too, where it's not costing me like hundreds of dollars in gift cards.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And, one of the things that I'm really excited about having a Shopify store or having, my own e-commerce store is the possibilities that it opens up with email marketing and those automated sales funnels. Because with TPT, you can't put something on sale for a limited time for just that customer, or you can't give them that custom coupon code to enter at checkout that they have to use before X date, but being able to be a little bit more specific and strategic so that you don't have a product that's on sale all the time, but you have that act now, act fast. You join my email list, now go purchase this product while this coupon is still good. I'm really excited about that because I feel like it opens up a whole lot more opportunities and it really lends itself to being able to yield more sales than just saying like, go buy this product that will still be here at the same price, 3 months from now. Let's talk about other e-commerce sites because there's not just Shopify, there's WooCommerce and there are other options. What was it about Shopify that you were like, no, this is the route that I want to take and this is what I want to do?
It was interesting. There was a couple of reasons. One, my platform for my blog is not WordPress. And I think WooCommerce is more WordPress oriented and all that dynamics. Knowing that, I didn't really look into WooCommerce. And I don't know if it was I just had read different people doing WooCommerce and there were so many plugins and so much this, that, and the other. It wasn't kind of like a one-stop shop. Just reading about it felt overwhelming for me. And I had heard about Shopify. Actually, I was at a conference a couple of years ago for something completely different. And they were promoting Shopify and saying how easy it is to get your store going. And so I had heard about it a little bit then. And then 2 of my friends that I collaborate with a lot through TBT, like I said, Bridget from Math Giraffe and Shayna from Scaffolded Math and Science, they had opened Shopify stores. And I reached out to them and asked some questions, things I wanted to know before I jumped in. And I really felt like they were really happy with their store. They said it was easy to set up. It was easy, but it was harder than I felt once I got into it. I was like, whoa, maybe I got in and realized I should have done a little more research. But once you get over kind of the hump of, okay, this is how this platform works, it gets a lot easier, but it was a bigger learning curve than I was thinking at first. But I think just speaking with them and kind of, feeling it out. I also looked into a Facebook group. It's teachers selling on Shopify. I joined that group just to kind of feel it out and ask some questions in there and looking at some of those stores and seeing if it, does it look like it would work? Is it professional looking? So doing a little research that way. I know there's some other ones. I just think it just felt like Shopify was the right thing for me. There's some other teachers that do it from TPT. I have friends that I can kind of ask questions about. And I liked that it's more turnkey than WooCommerce. But, having that Facebook group and having some friends that have it, I reached out and they gave me some tips. I did some of my own research, a lot of video watching, trying to weed out the Shopifyers that do like drop shipping and all that. But yeah, I was very pleased once I got it going. And I think, man, this is a really, really powerful platform and definitely works for me for what I was looking for sure.
Yeah. And the same for me. I didn't have a website. I didn't have a blog. I didn't have anything. Shopify has a spot for you to put your blog. So I actually started putting blog posts on Shopify, and it makes it really nice for somebody who's like me, who doesn't already have all of that stuff. I mean, it's nice regardless. Like, you already had the website, you already had the blog, and you were able to put those two together. It's really nice for that because you just go to laurenfultonmath.com, the domains are connected, and it really just pulls up everything there is built in Shopify. So it makes it really nice. Who do you think would benefit most from having a Shopify or e-commerce store? Would you say that on the whole, considering the time commitment that goes into setting this up, the fact that it costs money, how much does it cost? It's what, like $39 a month? Is that what it is?
Something like that. It's super reasonable. It really
Yeah.
is. And you don't need a ton of extra add-ins unless you really want to do extra fancy things, but like that's it. If you want to just get it going, that's all you need to spend. So it's very, very reasonable for everything that you receive, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. But if you have like 14 products, maybe not,
Right.
maybe not. When do you think is a wise time to open one?
I think you have to have some kind of audience. Either you have a subscriber list that is very responsive to your emails, you have good open rates. It's not just like a couple hundred people, like a couple thousand would be nice, I think. And then also having enough products where you feel like it's worth driving them there. They have enough to look at where they're going to probably find something they need. And I don't know what that magic number is, because different grade levels, different subjects, like price points, like, if you're talking about a bunch of $3 resources, or you have more unit studies that are 15, if you're like an ELA, it's hard to put a number on it. I would say about 100 resources where you feel like people are going to go there and they're not going to be like, oh, you have 25 things or 50 things. And I don't really need that. You really want to feel like they're going to go there. They're going to find something that they want. So I think it's a combination. Who's your audience? Maybe it's through Instagram. Maybe you don't have subscribers, but you have a huge Instagram audience. Maybe it's your blog. Maybe it's your subscribers. You have to have some kind of base where you have people you can send there from some avenue that they'll get there, right? So, because just to put it up there and have no people, I think it's going to be really hard to get some traction. So I think it's that, and just making sure you have a solid number of resources that are quality, have been vetted, having maybe some reviews from them on TBT so you can put those reviews and feedback on there as, hey, these have been used. Like, maybe I don't have the reviews on my Shopify right now as like from there, but I have them from educators from TBT. You don't even have to say that. You just say educators have said, and you put it on there. I think that combination is what I would say you're ready. You're ready to do it. You're ready to kind of start that and build that. But if you don't have, mainly having an audience, I think it would be a little tricky to kind of get it going. It'll be much slower.
Because with SEO, Google indexing, all of that kind of stuff, it's going to take a really long time before you start to see any kind of organic traffic if you don't have any at all yet. How long did it take to set up your store?
I do have a VA that helped me do all 300. I think I only have 347 up. I still have some that I want to edit before I put them up there because they're older, but I had help. So I did a whole design of the website, but I trained my VA to upload each resource. There are ways to bulk import, but I did not find one that was easy and uploaded everything that I wanted in a certain way. Like, the images were too blurry if they grab them from TBT, because on TBT they're thumbnails, so then they make them even blurrier. I just wanted it done a specific way, so I had my VA upload all 347 resources. I think it would have taken twice as long if I didn't have that, but I think between her and I, it was, like I said, I think I purchased it like the first week in October, and I was able and ready to soft launch it Thanksgiving weekend, so about a month and a half, give or take. And thinking back, because it was almost a year ago, I don't know how much of my week I dedicated to it. I know it wasn't every single day of my work schedule, because I still had other things to do, like creating and things like that. But I definitely did some large chunks at a time. You're doing some research to make sure you're doing it the way you want and not have to redo everything if you don't do it right the first times. So yeah, I would say about a month and a half. But yeah, I think I was able to do it pretty fast compared to other people I know, for sure, especially if people are uploading the resources on their own. So maybe if you're doing it all on your own, depending on how many resources, I would say 3 months, because it took me about, a month and a half. So, and I had two of us, but I don't think it's too bad.
So a little bit of background because this is going to lead into, you have a course for Shopify. So
Mhm.
when I started this back, November, I don't know. I know it was sometime around the holidays because we did a little co-working group. I asked anybody in the RTA who was working on their website. I was like, y'all want to just meet and like work on the stuff together, right? And so I know it was sometime in the winter last year, and I was just so slow. I was just moving through it just so slowly. And then I finally decided, like, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to have this done before I have this baby, like before I go on maternity leave. This is going to be done. And you kind of get in that nesting mode of like, I'm going to knock this out. All the resources were there, but I started my theme and everything from scratch again. Like I picked a whole new theme. I did all of that from scratch, and I had all of that done in 2 weeks. So I feel like, and that wasn't the only thing that I was doing either. So I feel like that piece of it can go really quickly. Like the front end of the store can go really quickly. And then if you have somebody helping you on the back end, then you can get it up and running pretty fast. Like it really
Mhm.
wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be initially. You had given me access to your course. And so I was able to like go in and go, okay, what am I stuck on? Let me find the section of that course. Because at that point, I had already worked on the Shopify before. So I knew some of the inner workings of it. But I was like, okay, what am I stuck on? Like, where do I go? And I was able to find that section of the course and be like, okay, watch the video. This is what I do. And it saved me so much time because I wasn't having to like hunt around and go on YouTube. And like you said before, like filter through like the drop shipping companies and like all these other things that have nothing to do with what we do. With digital downloads, it's a different beast. It's not like it's clothing or anything like that. I didn't even know how to get to the theme store. So I was just literally going through like some of the suggested themes that were popping up before. And then I was able to like, oh, I found the theme that I wanted like right away. So everything kind of fell into place much more quickly whenever I had access to your course, because then I wasn't having to hunt around for the information that I needed, and it made it so much faster. Is that why you created the course? Like because you were hunting around? Is that like why you did it? Because there's not a course on the market for TPT sellers for Shopify.
There's not. And it is why I kind of felt like I spent all this time learning the ins and outs, asking questions to other people, so many videos on YouTube. And like there'll be like 20-minute videos and I needed like 2 minutes of it, but I had to like scroll through and pick. And it just felt like there is a lot out there. There's a lot out there that's free, but the time it takes, because we are so unique and we have digital downloads, it just was too much information, and weeding through it is time consuming. And I just thought, I have all this knowledge now. It's fresh in my mind. I just created my store. I feel like it's running well. So I named the course Getting Started on Shopify because it's a way for you to get in and get the foundational things to get your store up and running from beginning to end in a short amount of time, so you can feel like you're getting your money's worth and you're not like, okay, now this is going to take 6 months. No, you just need to get the basics in there, the basics going. You can always add stuff later. You can change the theme easily. If you decide, well, I really want this other theme, it's a quick adjustment. It's easy and stuff like that. So I just wanted to narrow it down for teacher authors, gather the information I've learned from others, from the Facebook group, from YouTube, and just say, hey, let me just break it down pretty point blank. And then what are you taking from TPT that, is going to make it easier on Shopify? What some different options you can do, how you want to organize your store. So I kind of just did that. And I think with everything going on during personalized search, people getting frustrated and getting nervous, I thought, maybe this is a time people are looking for this. And this could be an easy way for them to do it without feeling they have to just start all over from scratch. And I know things have seemed better. IXL took over, but I think people are still looking to expand their business and have this as an option. Just knowing that everything we've gone through in the last year or so with TPT, that it's stable, but it's also good to keep other options out there so you feel like you have full control over your business at all times. So yeah, I just felt like I wanted to share my knowledge, and I've never created a course before. So it was interesting to do a lot of videos and editing, but I spent a lot of time breaking it down into pieces where I felt like this is going to make the most sense, and this is the clearest way I can explain it, because there is a lot going on. You could be doing a lot of things in different orders, and so I just try to really spend the time to break it down the best way I thought would be for teacher authors to learn how to use it. So I'm really glad it helped you. The feedback is always nice to have.
It really did. It helped a lot. And I was trying to find on my store, I got to it earlier, but I'm still learning how to navigate some of the analytics of it. But you were talking about how, there were a lot of people who were flocking to Shopify and building their own e-commerce platforms and things like that because of all of the turmoil and uncertainty that there was with TPT. And of course, like you said, a lot of that has leveled out. But I also think about the economy. Being able to stretch your dollar a little bit more, it goes a really long way. And I was looking at some of my transactions today, just kind of going through and saying, okay, with this transaction, how much would I have lost to TPT versus how much am I getting here? And it was like, a $50 transaction cost me like maybe $3. I think it was a little less than $3, whereas on TPT, that $50 transaction would have cost me $10. And so just really comparing those two things where I'm literally looking at out of 30 orders from 30 different customers, I'm looking at about $100 in additional income that I wouldn't have had if I directed them to TPT. And I probably wouldn't have had that income anyway, because that was a special coupon code that I was able to give out to certain customers to shop my store, whereas they wouldn't have spent that amount of money, or maybe they wouldn't have spent any money at all if I had just directed them to TPT. So looking for ways and having the ability to do things that are going to take the same sale and give you more money in your pocket, even if it's just 20 cents here and 50 cents there, it really does add up in this economy, especially where, gas prices are through the roof and groceries are just like, something you don't even want to talk about, with how much they cost. So that to me is a really huge draw for anybody who's listening and is thinking, I would really love to have a way to make my marketing go farther. I feel like this is a really easy answer for that. And, in just this one sale that I just had, it paid for a year and a half of Shopify in just 24 hours. From here on out, it's free. Like that's how I look at it, girl math. From here on out, Shopify is free for the next year and a half. Every dollar that I make on there, I'm not really having to spend any money on it. So I really am very, very pleased. And I think I've always been team, like, have your own website, be able to sell on your own site, have your own assets. But I think that this is just further confirming for me that this is something that I'm not going to say everyone, because I know everybody has a different path for their business, but that most business owners should really try to have, even if it's not Shopify specific. So tell us, where can listeners go to learn more about it?
So I have a Getting Started on Shopify link. You can go on that site and it describes a little bit why I did it, like I told you. And then it has a list of all the different videos and lessons you'll have. It comes with, I think, the planner is up to 18 pages now. I have gone back in and added bonus content because for the Getting Started, I really wanted it to be, all you got to do is buy the Shopify platform, and then everything I teach you, you can get your store going for absolutely free. And then in the bonus content, I add a little bells and whistles of things that maybe would cost, $20 for the year, this, like if you want this feature and things like that. So I want to try to always add a little bit here and there for the bonus content as I learn more, because with Shopify, there's always things, they're always improving. That's what I like about it. Every quarter they come up with updates to improve. I like having the planner because then it says, okay, I'm looking for this. Now, what section was that in? Was that in collections? Was that in products? And I like having that laid out because then you can automatically go back and say, okay, this is the section where I find how to do this, because there are so many, different places to find things. So I thought that was really important to have with the course. And then again, bonus content for all the extra things that kind of maybe can spice your store up. So yeah, you can go there and look for it and read about it. And you can always ask me questions. And then there's a community that comes with it. And then I also have links to some other Shopify stores that people let me put in there so you can see what other ones look like. And I always think that's helpful to do some research of what do I want mine to look like. I think that's normal to do research of, I like that, the way that looks on that site, but I like it the way that looks on that site. So I thought having some links to some established stores was kind of good too. And yeah, you can find just a bunch of little things in there. And really, you go through the course, you should be able to, by the end, have your course up and running, as fast as you move through the course and understand everything.
I was really pleased with it. And honestly, by the time I took the course, I had already had pretty much all of my resources had been uploaded. I think my VA was uploading some newer content, but I had messed up and I had like 15 tags on each product. And I contacted you and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to go. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do with all of these tags, because I didn't realize how things were going to be filtered in the end. And I just thought, well, we'll put these tags on here now and then we can come back later and do all. And it ended up being a pretty big little mess to have to deal with in the end. And it's something that like, okay, now I've got to go back and I've got to remove all of these tags and I've got to figure out how to make sure that things still show up in collections and like do all of that. Whereas if I had had it in the very beginning and just followed step by step, it would have cut out quite a bit of headache for me. So I highly recommend purchasing the course because it's really, honestly, it's very, very affordable.
I was thinking the other day, I'm like, it's probably worth way more, but it's just one of those things that I was doing it because I just felt like there was a need, and I have never created a course. So I don't even really know a justifiable price point, but I just wanted people to feel like they get it and they get in like, wow, I'm going to have a store and this is just so easy to go through and figure out and not have to do the research on my own. And yeah, so there's definitely a lot in there, and breaking it down, like you said, is helpful. And I want to make sure no one does the same mistake, so when I created it, trying to make sure, like, because you can do something thinking it's the right thing and then realize later, oh no, that's not how I wanted it, and then you have to start all over. So it definitely, for those who really don't want to make those mistakes and they want to do it right the first time, I really tried to emphasize, here's a couple options, think about what you want so you don't have to do this over again down the road.
Yeah. Well, I have some fun questions for you, Tyra, and we'll have the link to your course and everything down inside of the description so listeners can find it. But I got some fun questions for you. What is your favorite podcast? I don't even know. Are you a podcast listener?
I don't. I was just talking to someone about it today, and I'm always like, well, when do you listen to podcasts? They're like, oh, when I'm in the car or when I'm cooking or whatever. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm such a visual person. I'm so super, super visual. And so honestly, I've only listened to a handful, and yours is one of them because you have it on YouTube as well. So when I've listened to yours, I always go to YouTube, and it's not like you're holding things up and showing visuals, but I just think it feels like a conversation, or I don't know. For me, that's the biggest hang up. And yeah, so I have not listened to a lot. I do listen to Rachel's from Elite Edupreneur because she's a good friend of mine, and she actually we live in the same town. So big support of hers and things like that. But I think that's the only two that I've really, yours and hers are the only ones I've really, maybe back in the day there were a couple other ones, but it's really hard for me. I'm just very visual.
I totally get it. Well, I've had people say the same thing to me who watch on YouTube, and they're like, yeah, I don't really listen to your podcast, but I do watch on YouTube. And that's kind of like, I feel like there are a lot of people who are an either or, like all podcasts or all YouTube or all visual. Yeah, totally get it. Favorite way to relax?
I like to read a lot. I think at night, when it's like downtime for me, I alternate between Netflix and reading. I live by the beach, so obviously that's also, a way to do it. But I think in the evenings when I'm really like, I just need to shut down and have some, I don't want to say not thinking time, but kind of brainless stuff. Like I love to read and, of course, get into some Netflix shows and binge watching here and there. But yeah, that I can relax. Going to the beach sometimes is actually more work because my kids want to be in the ocean, and then it's not as relaxing. but yeah, for my personal time, that's what I enjoy doing.
Love it. Well, that takes us right into the next question, which is, what is your favorite show to binge watch currently?
Actually, I've been binge watching See. It's on Apple TV. It's with Jason Momoa. It's really interesting. All the people are blind, and so to see how people would have to, like the whole world, I guess, and to see how people would have to interact, and they go to war and they're blind. So it's just really interesting. And one of my best friends went to high school with Jason, so I always feel like I try to watch some of his stuff because she was good friends with him in high school. And yeah, I've just been binging that, but that's Apple TV. That's not even on Netflix. So that's my most recent one. So not a popular one that people have heard of, but it's definitely interesting.
Yeah. It sounds interesting. It sounds right up my alley.
Yeah.
Let's say you're handed a gift card to your favorite restaurant. Where are you going and what are you ordering?
Well, that's tricky because I don't know if people know I live in Costa Rica, so we don't have chains here or anything like that. But my favorite one here is probably, oh gosh, that's a tricky question. I really like a restaurant here called Dragonfly. They have a good variety of seafood, and good steak is hard to get around here. So they have the option if I want steak or if I want seafood, and unique offerings in that sense, and just a really nice atmosphere, and my kids love it, so that helps. But it's been around for a while, and the owners are really good about the locals. We get like a discount on certain days if we live here. So yeah, I don't know. In the States it would be a little different because don't do it a lot when we go to the States going out to eat because we're visiting family and kind of just
Yeah.
doing like the summer grilling out and things like that. So yeah, I think it would be Dragonfly here.
Awesome. Awesome. So what's next for you in your business?
I know. I just, like I said, I hit 400. I'm just created a new product line I'm excited about getting up and running, and curriculum that I've been working on for a couple years that I'm super excited about being complete with, and then another product line that's in my head that I have some products in already. It's project-based learning that I want to continue growing because I really enjoy creating those resources. So a lot of like kind of this year more focusing on some creation in the next couple months. And then I don't know because like what else, at this point you have the Shopify store, the TBT, all the social media. I don't know. I feel like maybe creating this course was kind of like another stepping stone. Maybe I'll create another one sometime.
Yeah.
I don't really know. But so far right now, my focus in the next couple months is creation. And that's where I really love my energy to be spent for the most part. And just some great ideas I have in my head that I want to get out and done.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for being here today and for sharing your knowledge and information and for putting the course together, because I know that this is going to be helpful to so many people, and it's already been helpful to a lot of people. So thank you so much. And yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, Lauren. I appreciate it. It was great talking to you.
Thanks so much for being here. If you want to learn more about Tyra, you want to visit her Shopify store or learn more about her course, you can find all of the links inside of the description below. And if you are interested in joining RTA, I'm going to give one of the final plugs for this. You want to make sure that you are on the waitlist. Go to therebrandedteacher.com. That's therebrandedteacher.com. Get on the waitlist so that you have the opportunity to get a spot when they come open at the end of the year. I will see you right back here next week.